Okay, let's dive in. Here's a question for you. What if a really, really old military text, like over 2,000 years old, actually held the secrets to, well, succeeding in your life today? Think about navigating your career, maybe winning in sports, or even just hitting your personal goals. Today, we are taking a deep dive into Sun Tzu's The Art of War. And our mission really is to unpack its core ideas and show you how the genius in this text, it just goes way beyond the battlefield.
Yeah, it really does.
It applies pretty much anywhere you need planning, intelligence, and just understanding who or what you're up against.
Exactly.
We want to explore why this ancient wisdom is seen as, a matter of life and death for nations and leaders, but also how it could be just as important for you.
It's powerful stuff.
Okay, so let's unlock this. We're talking about Sun Tzu, sometimes called Sun Tzu. He was a Chinese general, a philosopher,
Right.
who wrote The Art of War way back over 2,000 years ago. He was serving the state of Wu at the time.
It's kind of amazing, isn't it, that something written that long ago still resonates so strongly.
It really is.
And what's fascinating, truly, is how universal it is. I mean, yes, it comes from a military background, obviously.
Sure.
But these principles, they just fit seamlessly into, well, almost anything. Politics, business strategy, definitely. Elite sports, yeah. Even just like personal development. It's really about understanding conflict, broadly speaking, not just, fighting with armies.
And it's not just theoretical, right? People have actually used this stuff. Major figures throughout history and even today.
Oh, absolutely. It's got a serious track record.
I mean, Napoleon Bonaparte, for one.
Yeah.
The story goes he used its ideas to beat armies that were way bigger than his.
That's right. He was known to study it. Or think about Konosuke Matsushita.
The founder of Panasonic.
The very same. He explicitly used the art of war principles to build his business empire, applied it directly to strategy.
Wow.
And then bring it to modern times, you've got someone like Bill Belichick.
The NFL coach, legendary.
Exactly. Renowned for his strategy, he's openly drawn on Sun Tzu's ideas for dominating in football. So it really spans, ancient battles to the Super Bowl.
That's incredible. So, okay, if we look inside the text itself,
Yeah.
what did Sun Tzu see as the core elements, the absolute must-haves for any leader?
He boiled it down to 5 key factors. And importantly, they're not just separate items on a list. They're interconnected. They have to work together, be in harmony.
Okay.
The first one, and maybe the most foundational, he called the way.
The way. That sounds almost like spiritual or philosophical. What's that about? Is it just being a good person? Morality?
It's deeper than just being good. Sun Tzu puts the way first for a reason. It's about aligning the purpose, the spirit, between the leaders and the people.
Ah, okay.
Creating this unity, this bond that's so strong that Sun Tzu actually says people will follow their leader regardless of their lives, undismayed by any danger. It's about shared vision, deep trust.
That level of unity, that's powerful. It makes you wonder how leaders actually achieve that. Can you give us some examples? How does that look in the real world?
Sure. Think about Winston Churchill during World War II.
Right.
Rallying Britain, through his leadership, his resolve. That's the way in action. Or George Washington holding the colonies together during the American Revolution, embodying that integrity and unity.
Okay, I see.
But then you look at the other side. The Vietnam War, for instance, is often seen as a tragic example where the lack of clear moral purpose and unity led to huge problems, disarray, low morale, and eventually withdrawal. It really highlights how vital the way is. If that's not there, things crumble.
That really drives home the importance of internal cohesion. But okay, even if you have perfect unity, you still have to deal with the outside world.
Which brings us to the second factor, paradise. That's an interesting name. What's paradise?
Right, paradise. It's a Sun Tzu's term for understanding and using the environment, specifically things like weather, climate, the seasons. So not an actual paradise, then?
No,
Good.
no. It's about recognizing that nature itself is a huge factor in any plan. A silent but deadly player, you could say. You have to account for it.
It feels like sometimes, especially now with all our technology, we kind of forget about the weather or think we can ignore it. Do you think we're maybe more likely to dismiss these basic environmental things now?
That's a really good point. I think we often are tempted to overlook them, but history is full of reminders. Look at Napoleon's invasion of Russia.
The winter, yeah. Famous disaster.
Exactly. Total failure, largely because they disregarded paradise. They weren't prepared for that brutal winter. Now, contrast that with, say, the Battle of Stalingrad.
Okay.
The Soviets used their knowledge of the terrain and the brutal climate to their advantage. Their resilience, their adaptation to paradise was key in defeating the German forces.
Right. It's about working with the conditions, not just fighting them.
Precisely. And even today, understanding weather patterns is critical for logistics, for supply chains, for deciding when to launch a product or hold an event. It's still fundamental.
That makes total sense.
Okay.
So we've got the way, the internal unity in paradise, the big environmental picture. Where does Sun Tzu take us next?
From the big environment, he zooms into the land. This is about geography, the specific terrain.
Okay.
This pillar stresses how vital it is to know the physical landscape. Where can you move? Where are the advantages? Where are the dangers, the potential traps? It's about knowing the ground under your feet intimately.
Knowing the ground. And then you need someone to guide the way across it. That must be leadership, right? Seems kind of obvious, but what specific traits did Sun Tzu look for in a leader? It wasn't just about being smart, was it?
No, not just smart. Sun Tzu was very clear on this. A good leader, a commander, doesn't just command. They inspire loyalty. They enforce discipline through their character. He lists 5 key qualities.
5. What are they?
Wise, trustworthy, benevolent, meaning humane or caring, courageous, and strict.
Wise, trustworthy, benevolent, courageous, strict. That's quite a combination.
It is. It's a mix of intellect, integrity, empathy, bravery, and importantly, the firmness to maintain order.
It sounds like that kind of leader would naturally build that way you talked about earlier, that trust.
Exactly. They're deeply connected.
So what happens if a leader is missing those things? If they're, I don't know, corrupt or cowardly or just incompetent?
Well, it's disastrous. Mismanagement, tyranny, lack of trust. It shatters that unity that way. It completely undermines any strategy. Doesn't matter how clever it looks on paper. The leader's character is absolutely central.
A crucial link. Okay, so we have the leader, the people's unity, the environment, the terrain. What's the final piece of this strategic puzzle, according to Sun Tzu?
The 5th and final pillar is discipline. This covers organization and logistics.
The practical stuff.
Very practical, but absolutely essential. This is about making sure your forces or, your team, your project are properly organized, well supplied, and can actually act quickly and together.
So having the right stuff in the right place at the right time.
Precisely. Your logistical strength basically determines how effectively you can operate. Sun Tzu saw discipline in this broad sense as the absolute lifeblood of an effective force. Without it, nothing else works reliably.
So putting it all together, even though the book is called The Art of War, it sounds like it's really much bigger than that. More like a philosophy of conflict, or maybe just strategy in general.
That's a great way to put it. It's less of a step-by-step manual for fighting battles and much more a timeless guide to strategic thinking. How to understand dynamics, how to achieve your goals, ideally with the least amount of friction or cost.
Right. So thinking about, say, business, we talk about knowing your market, but Sun Tzu's knowing your enemy sounds deeper. Like you need to understand their psychology, not just what they sell, but why they do things.
Exactly. It's not just about their strengths and weaknesses on paper. It's understanding their habits, their motivations, how they're likely to react under pressure. In business, that means getting inside your competitor's head. Why do they make the moves they make? That can show you where they're really vulnerable beyond just their product features.
That's insightful. And what about sports? You mentioned Belichick.
Yeah, sports is a perfect analogy. Like war, a game is fluid, it's dynamic, always changing.
Right.
So coaches like Belichick embody that Sun Tzu principle. Be formless like water. Don't be rigid. Adapt your game plan, your tactics, instantly based on what your opponent is doing. Fluidity is key.
Be like water. I like that. So when you lay out these principles, the way, paradise, land, leadership, discipline, it becomes really clear what happens if you ignore them. The results aren't pretty.
No, they're often catastrophic. If you disregard the way, that moral core and unity.
Division. Collapse from within.
Exactly. Ignore paradise, the environment. You walk into disaster like Napoleon.
Underestimate the land, the terrain.
You get ambushed, trapped. If leadership is weak or corrupt.
Loyalty breaks down. Discipline vanishes.
Right. And without that fundamental discipline in organization and logistics, any strategy just dissolves into chaos. It's basically a checklist for failure if you ignore these things.
Okay, so wrapping this up then. The Art of War really does present this compelling case as Well, a timeless toolkit for anyone in a position of leadership or facing competition.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter if you're leading a company, a project team, coaching a sports team, or, yes, even commanding an army.
The core ideas from Sun Tzu, things like ethics, awareness, being flexible, being prepared, they just feel universally relevant, even thousands of years later.
They really are. They offer a solid framework for thinking strategically, for navigating whatever challenges or competition you're facing. It can give you a real edge.
So here's the final thought to leave you with. If understanding Sun Tzu can make someone a better general, what insights could it unlock for you? Think about anticipating challenges, managing your resources, maybe just getting your team pulling in the same direction. What competitive situation are you dealing with right now where maybe, just maybe, these ancient ideas could be your most powerful advantage?